Hi everybody, this is Oksana, and in this video I am going to show you how to wrap this round little marble. I hope you don't mind that I'm making another round stone video, 2 in a row, because my previous one was also a marble, but right after I made that video I came up with another idea, and this time it uses round wire, and I thought, well, I better share this idea too because I know some of you prefer round wire and I know some of you only have access to round wire, so this is a good way that you can trap a round stone like a marble or a pearl or just any kind of little sphere you might have. So if you want to see how to make this pendant, just keep watching. We're going to be using some 20 gauge round copper wire. This is from riogrande.com. It's just raw, dead soft round copper. And in addition to the 20 gauge, I just have one piece of it here that I cut myself. We're also going to be using some 26 gauge round wire, which is a much thinner wire, and we're going to be doing some weaving with this wire. So the first thing is I will measure this one piece that I cut, and it's 8 inches, and then my little marble here is probably about 10 millimeters. It looks like it's about 10 millimeters. So anything in this vicinity size-wise would work. So what you want to do is just take your wire and fold it in half, and then just kind of keep folding it, which forms this little loop, and just keep going with it until it's nice and small like this. And then if you put your little stone or marble on it, it's too small for it to fall through. So after you've done that, and it's small enough, what you want to do is you want to take your pliers and you want to put a bend in each side here, like this, and I'm just gonna straighten these wires so that the two wires here come together like that. Let me just fix this bend a little bit. There we go. So it's almost like a little spoon and then on that spoon the marble can sit comfortably, and it's small enough. So now it's time to do some weaving. So if you do happen to have half round wire, you can just wrap half round wire around and around for your bail. But I wanted to do this video fully with round wire. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna grab my 26. You can use 26 or 28. I just couldn't find my 28 this morning. So I'm putting it through between those two wires, and I'm holding this little end here. And I'm starting right at the bend. I'm bringing the wire up and around the top, and then around this wire back through the middle. So it looks like there's 2 little loops, 1 loop around each of the wires. And now the wire is in the back here, so we're just bringing it up and over, and we're bringing it down across both wires. What I like to do with these is put like a little curve like that. That way it's easy to get your wire in between. So now we're just bringing it up and in between from back to front. This makes a little loop around the bottom and then over the top, and then again through the middle. And if this is going too quickly for you, then I will link a video below in the information box of this video. So in the information box is where I always put like the lengths of the wires used and the gauges and stuff like that if you ever need that information. So I will also put a link to this weaving pattern, and I have a video where I repeat it a bunch of times. I go really nice and slow, super zoomed in. So if you need to learn this pattern, that'll be a really good video for that. So I'm gonna go ahead and do this till maybe about here so that it will be tall enough to be my bale. I'll measure it when I'm done to let you know. So I'll just do that off camera real quick. All right, I think this is long enough. So let's go ahead and measure it. So it's like an inch, about an inch. So what you want to do is you want the ends of your wire to be on the same side. So this first wire that, you know, the little tail end that we started with, I'm just gonna trim and have the end of it sticking out on this side, and then the other one as well. So you can see the little wire ends, and I'm just gonna pinch them down like this and like that. So they're both on the same side. So what I'm gonna do now is just with my finger, I'm gonna put a bend in this like that, and I'm gonna grab my marble. I'm gonna sit it in there, sit it in this little cup. It might be sticking out a little bit, so just bend it to shape so that it fits, because your marble is obviously rounded and that piece wasn't. So that now this is gonna be our bale. You can either use your fingers like I'm doing here, or if you want, you can use round nose pliers or bale making pliers, but you just want to get that rounded shape, and you want it to come back to the top of your marble like this. All right, so what we're gonna do now, the marble is kind of unstable, it might pop out, and that's okay if it does, but I'm gonna hold it in there because I think it helps visualize what's happening here. So I'm taking these wires, and you can do one at a time, or you can just do like a little bit on each side. So we want to make a little loop. Sometimes it's easier just to kind of work on both of them almost at the same time. That might help you get the loop to be similar size and shape. And then you can always use your pliers to adjust it a little bit if they're looking different from each other. So with these little loops, right now they're just kind of sticking up like little ears or something. You're gonna wanna press them down. You can use your pliers or your fingers, but press them this way, kind of on the side. So now, see, you couldn't see before the loop from the side, you can just see the edge of it, but now I've pushed them more onto the side, and you can do that with your pliers as well. And then we're just gonna continue with these wires. Make sure everything's tight. There isn't like huge gaps, because kind of the point of the loops, pressing them down, is to hold the marble. So we're just gonna continue this wire. We're gonna bring it to right here, and we're gonna curve it. And then same thing on this side. We're just gonna continue it down, bring it here to this end, and just kind of curve it up like that. And now we're gonna trim these. So just trim them the same height so it'll be even. And then just use your round nose pliers to form a loop. And I'm also just using my regular pliers to kind of push that loop down a little bit. There we go. So that little end of it isn't sticking up. So it kind of moved a little bit. I know it was here at the end, but then when I formed the loop, it kind of moved. So we can just put it back. And again, on the other side, I'm just grabbing that little end and forming that little loop. And then with my pliers, I'm just kind of fixing it up, pushing that wire down. All right, so here's what that looks like. So now you want to grab yourself just one piece of that 26 gauge thin wire that we were using, just like 3 to 4 inches. It doesn't need to be very long. And what we're going to do is we're going to put it through the loop underneath this bail portion and then push it through. And then you want it to go through the other loop. Now it naturally just wants to go straight, so you might have to kind of play around with it and curve it down and maybe use your pliers if necessary to get it to go through like this. All right, and once you've done that, just gonna grab our pliers, just gonna pull it through a little bit so you have wire on each side, and we're gonna start with one side. So we'll just start with this side on the right. So we're gonna take this and we're gonna put it through here. Basically, you just want to attach. If it's easier for you to, just like lots of different ways to attach. So it's coming this way. There, you can see it like this. And we're attaching the loop. Ooh, I think I pulled a little too hard. See how it like almost popped under the other wire? Let me push it back like that. And then same thing on this side. So we're pushing it under, and then we're just gonna tighten that up. There's different ways that you can attach. So if this is, you know, proving to be difficult, try wrapping around like a different wire. So now we've attached that, but before we trim off our wires, I just need to wrap it just a few more times to make sure that it's not gonna unravel, because if you just have the one, you know, little loop, it might unravel. So I'm just taking the wire and just still wrapping it around that same bottom base wire just a few more times. And there you can see it's formed like 3 little loops there. And I'm just going to do that on this side as well. Now you could have wrapped it around, you know, maybe this other wire as well, whatever is easier for you. It's just all about making that connection. So let's see here. I think this is like an equal amount now. Equal amount of wraps. So now I'm just going to trim these wires. And then I'll push down those little wire ends. So here's my little wire ends. And I'm just taking them and I'm kind of curving them downwards in there. And then I'm pushing them in. And same thing on this side. And you can just kind of, if you want to just squish the whole thing together, like that. So here is our attachment. Now these little curls or swirls on the side are attached, and you just want to make sure that everything here is still, see how this part isn't tight anymore? Just want to push down on it. Things could have moved a little bit out of place as we were working and kind of pushing and pulling on the wires. There we go. See how it's nice and tight right up against that marble? So this is the side of the marble, and this is the front. So here's what it looks like on a little necklace. And here's another one that I made. It's the same thing. It uses round 20 gauge wire for the base, but then it just has the half round here. Instead of a woven pattern, it just has some 24 gauge half round, and then as well to make the attachment. So it looks really similar, but just without the weaving. And that's it. It's like a little crystal ball pendant. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.